Hi, my name is Keith Anderson. I'm the president and CEO of Silver Sands, and I have to say I'm very happy to be participating here in the one-to-one mining conference. And without further ado, I will get started on my presentation. To start with who we are, I've got a very solid and I think seasoned board of directors. Everybody on here has got a minimum of 12 to 15 years experience with public companies. I personally have over 30 years experience in the industry. I was a broker for 24 years at Canaccord Genuity as a senior investment advisor. And I spent a lot of that time there was helping structure and finance junior exploration deals. So no lack of knowledge on this sector. Moving right along here, why Silver Sands? Well, to start off, we're a well-financed junior exploration company with what I think is a advanced stage exploration play. The property's already had $12 million spent on it. And right as we speak, there's a 43-101 compliant resource already done that has, it's 12 million ounces at 310 gram average, and also another 3 million ounces inferred with an average of about 207 grams per ton. And this property, it's in Argentina in the mining friendly province of Santa Cruz, which is a prolific mining jurisdiction with a number of senior miners that are sort of surrounding our property. And also another thing is because the property, the location being down in the southern part of South America, they're just coming out of their winter now into spring. And so that tells me we've got probably a good 7 to 8 months of favorable weather to sort of get our exploration programs underway. The share structure, as we stand right now, we've got 54.3 million shares outstanding. There's another 21.6 million warrants that are all exercisable at 25 and 30 cents. Options, we've got almost 4 million, 3.8 million options. If the warrants, which are exercisable at 25 and 30, and the options, which are about an average of around 17 cents, they were all exercised, would add about $6 million to the treasury. As we stand right now, we've paid upfront, we've paid $1,075,000 US for the first year's exploration. We've got just over 3 million in the treasury. So we're well funded and ready to go. A little bit about our partner. The deal we've done is with Mirasol. Mirasol is a well-known and well-capitalized. They're a project generator. They've got properties throughout Chile and down into Argentina. They've had some success in the past where they've sold some properties and they're well financed. And I feel very fortunate to have done the deal with Mirasol. They will be the operator. These are the guys that have been on this property from discovery right through to producing a 43-101 compliant resource. So very comfortable with the guys that are doing the work. We've had numerous Zoom meetings and my geologs also speak very highly of these guys. And so we're in good hands. We've done, I think, a fantastic deal with Mirasol, and how we structured it and how the deal is laid out is we're to spend $6 million over 3 years, $1 million first year, $2 million second year, $3 million third year. And we don't pay any cash to Mirasol. All the money that we're putting up is strictly for exploration. And Mirasol, where they get their win from is they're going to have an equity stake in our company. So when we signed our definitive agreement back on May 21st, we issued 9.9% of the issued outstanding of Silver Sands to Mirasol. And after year one anniversary, we were going to top them up by 5% and then an additional 5% on second year anniversary for a total of 19.9%. So I like the fact that the money that we're putting up is just going strictly into exploration. They get a win out of having, an equity stake in our company for when we have success. So hopefully within under 3 years is what I'm planning, is to own 100% of this property minus a 3% net smelter, which we do have an option to buy back 1% for $2 million US. Moving right along, the current resource, as you can see here, these blue outlined areas, these are conceptual open pits where that resource calculation was derived from. These pits only go down to 95 meters. So as you can see, having resource of upwards of 310 grams over 12 million ounces and 207 grams, that's our starting point. I mean, these are only going down 95 meters. Those are high grade for an open pit type scenario. We also feel that everything does continue to go to depth, as most people around us are all mining at depth. Next slide, the location. As you can see, the property is large. It's around 73,000 hectares. And access to the property is, we've got a highway that runs right through our property. They drive off the highway right up to the camp and into where all the work's being done. So as far as access in and out, it's fantastic. The area that we're in, That southern tip of Chile and Argentina is known as the Patagonia region. And exploration in this area dates back to the early 1980s and then ramped up through the 90s. And as you can see, there's a number of, large miners down in the area that are in production now. I'll show you on the next slide how they surround us. So here's our property here in the middle, and you go up north, you got Newmont's Cerro Negro property, and then just to the north of them, you got Hochschild's McEwen, the San Jose property, you got Pan American Silver, Patagonia Gold. We've got a Sandstorm, we've got a whole number of producers all around us, which gives us good comfort to know we're in a good, friendly mining jurisdiction. As far as our resource goes, we've already gone over that. It's 12 million ounces indicated at 310 grams, 3 million inferred at 207 grams. Let's go to exploration highlights. As far as, we don't really need to go over the history. I'll just go what we're going to do for the 2020 season in 2021. Really what our idea is we want to go in and add as many ounces as fast as we can. So we're going to go in and we're going to probably drill along strike and to depth where we know we're going to get probably some really good numbers. And we can add to those ounces really quickly. There's a number of new areas also that have been tested. You've got some of these, like it says, rock chip samples of 4,600 grams. You've got some trench samples as high as 29,000 grams. That's another area we'll be doing some work on and hopefully identify some drill targets there as well. The expansion of the property, this started back, it was back in, I guess, they discovered the Virginia discovery was 2009. And then they fast tracked, they did 4 drill programs to prove up the resource that they have. And they've identified a whole pile of other, structures and stuff that need to be drilled and need to be looked at. So what they did is they found that most of these structures are all leading to the south. And then there was some areas of interest over to the west. And that's what led to the property expansion, which I think was a smart idea on their part. So we've got a huge, what I look at is a huge piece of property, over 73,000 hectares. As you can see for the expansion and upside potential, just on where we're starting off, this is, you can see, barely see, but these little white outlines is where that resource has been derived from. And then all these red highlighted areas are high priority drill targets. So we got an abundance of targets to go after right away. We got guys that have been doing ground geophysics for the last 2 weeks to even sort of further define where these drills are going to start off on. So we're ready to go. As soon as those drills hit the ground, we're ready. And here, just to finish off, what I'll do is I'll go through a timeline of where we started to where we're at. The IPO that we did, we're not even a year old. We IPO'd back on December of 2019. We had a quiet December. By the time we got into January, we started talking amongst the partners and directors saying, like, it's time to get on the acquisition trail and let's find some decent deals to do. And also at the same time, we were thinking we wanted to try to find something in the silver arena, just because we all felt that silver was kind of lagging the move that gold had made over the last couple of years, and we thought it was getting close to breakout. By mid to end January, we'd done a deal with Northbound Capital. We acquired a property next to Detour, or attached to Detour Lake, very grassroots. And right around that same time, my geologist phoned me up and he said, "Keith, I found the property." And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "The Virginia silver property owned by Mirasol." We were in their office the next day, probably within a half an hour or so. We had a gentleman's agreement to draft up an LOI. A little bit of back and forth. We announced the LOI February 27th. Just as the market started to get gripped by the COVID, and we saw the wild market sort of ups and downs that we experienced through that sort of March and into April. So not a lot happened in that period of time. Fast forward through April, all of a sudden precious metals started to heat up. We put the pedal to the metal, and within probably a week or so, we had the 2 million plus already accounted for. We ended up closing with a 10% over allotment, and that gave us the first 2.2 million. We had the signed definitive agreement with Mirasol done on, it was May the 21st. And so then you speed through the summer, the markets just kept on going. I decided around July, because of the attention that we were getting, it was probably a good idea to raise some more money. We were north of 25 cents. So I announced $1 million financing, had that done within probably 10 days to 2 weeks. At that point, one of my contacts phoned up and he said, "Hey, I've got Eric Sprott would like to put another $1 million in on top of what he already owns." Well, you can't say no to that. So went back to the CSE, increased the financing from 1 million to actually 2.5 million, because the interest that we were getting. that was done like right after we had Sprott involved. We had the other $500,000, and in fact, we did the other 10% over allotment as well. So closed on 2.75 million, which now that leaves Eric with holding just over 14% undiluted, and he'll have just over 19% on a fully diluted basis once he exercises all his warrants. Now that brings us to Q4. Now there's exciting times. Our crews were onto the property. They started about 2 weeks ago. The first guys got in. They've been doing the ground geophysics. The camp is being set up as we speak. They said it'd be about 7 to 10 days to have that set up. As of this last weekend, the first excavators have arrived. They started the trenching program, and we're expecting drills probably, from what I understand, within the next week or so. They've told me that the start date should be on or about October 25th for the drills to start turning. So exciting times. We've got everything. We're fully paid up for the first year. We've got a bank account with lots of cash in it, ready to go. And and also we've got our OTCQB listing is probably a couple weeks away. So we are ready to fire things up. We should have a good flow of news starting now. And we got about 7 or 8 months ahead of us of good exploration. So please stay in touch and follow our story. Exciting times ahead. If anybody wants to get in touch with me and talk any more about the company or need some more detail on the technical side, please feel free to reach out and give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you. Thanks for your time, and thanks for listening to me. Take care.